What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Generations Outdoors. I'm Tim Palmer, and I'm here today with my dad, Tom. And I hope y'all got to tune into episode number 1, because I was able to harvest a beautiful Indiana whitetail that first morning of our hunt. And now we're back for episode 2. There's a ton of big buck action, and I would tell you what happens, but you're just going to have to wait and see. So, episode 2 coming to you right now. So that first morning, and really the second day of your hunt, were pretty slow. We ended up, we saw a ton of deer, but really no mature bucks until about noon on that second day.
Yeah, the deer were moving and we were seeing all kinds of action, but really not getting a good look at anything with significant antlers at that point.
So that next morning, we got up on the top of the ridge, and it was a hike up there. We had, probably half a mile up, and then we had to go straight up this cliff to where we could slip right up to the edge of this field and get right in our stands. And it didn't really take long at all before we had, a couple 4 points and does that were cruising through the fields, and we knew it was fixing to heat up here before too long. That big buck walked right into 40 yards and stood there for 10 minutes.
10 to 15 minutes, and he never moved, standing broadside. But I had one limb crossing right across his vitals, and Tim has a clear look from the camera, and there's not a thing we can do about it. The next one that came in was a big 10-point, beautiful buck, but again, he walked right through the hedgerow in front of us and was totally screened by the brush. Not a thing we could do about it.
We'd had an amazing day in the stand there on day 3. We had seen several shooters, had them all over the place really. They were several of them within 20 yards, and what y'all didn't see was we had 5 or 6 other bucks that worked the edge there right in front of us, and really was an amazing day. But then the next morning we were right back in the stand, same spot, in there before daylight, and we didn't hardly see a deer.
No, there was nothing moving that day. It was windy, it was cold, and it was almost like all the deer had just shifted their location for that day, and that's why we decided maybe we'd make a move about midday back to the other side of the farm.
Change of scenery tonight. We've hiked all the way to the other side of the property, set up on a bean field where we have watched bucks earlier in the week come out. So we'll see if they decide to do that again. Right behind us is the big hollow where Tim shot his buck on Tuesday. So we'll see if they're coming from that area.
Watching the 2 bucks spar out in the field, and all of a sudden I hear something behind us. I turn around, here comes another little 8-point. This sucker's like this, and after hunting daylight till dark for 4 straight days, Dad was getting a little shaky on his plan to shoot a big buck, because he was literally going, Tim,
Hey, I'm not a tag eater. I want to take something home to show that I actually win.
He's sitting there going, I'm gonna shoot him. I'm gonna shoot him. I'm like, no, you're not. I'm throwing you out of this tree if you shoot this deer. And thankfully it all worked out. Thankfully Dad passed on that little buck, and it was a fight. I don't know if you can hear it in the camera, but I'm about yelling at Dad trying to spook this buck so he didn't kill him. But big part of it was right as we were actually starting to get out of the tree, and I saw a doe coming, and it was just, I mean, it was so dark, but I could just see her body against the beans, and here come a big buck behind her. That buck
could see his antlers.
Yeah, Dad said he could see that it was a big deer, and he chased that doe right down into the bottom below where I had killed my buck on Tuesday. And so we decided we were going down on that bottom. And that next morning, we were there before sunup, got set, and it did not take long before all of a sudden we had big buck running a doe right behind us, down through the creek, up through the bottom. And we didn't get much footage of it, but here's a little of it.
There's another 8-point with him now. Here she comes, here she comes. Holy balls.
Dad and I had hunted 10 to 12 hours a day for 4 straight days in the cold, in the wind. We had even that day, we had 4 different shooters within 50 yards of us at one point or another. And they were running does past us. They were coming up behind us. It was just crazy. We truly didn't. I was done. I literally looked at my dad and I said, I swear, if we have another shooter within 50 yards and don't get a shot off, I'm done. I cannot handle the emotional roller coaster anymore. And it wasn't 20, 30 minutes later, all of a sudden I just heard one little lone grunt coming out of the bottom behind us. and here comes some does. At that point, we didn't get much footage because it was so fast. I literally barely got the camera moved, and this is what happened.
Draw. Turn. He's at 30 yards. Back. Oh my God. Oh my God. He's done. He's done, Timmer. We just did it. You just shot a giant. We just did it. We just did it. Oh my soul. Oh my freaking soul. What just happened?
You just shot a giant, Dad. That's a giant deer.
That is unbelievable. Oh.
Dad just smoked a giant.
Mom!
Just
I just shot a buck.
a big one. Big one.
Huge one.
And he just fell. He just fell right here.
Dad fell or the buck?
No, the buck.
Oh!
And I got it all on camera. We were sitting here, and all of a sudden, here came 3 does, and here came a buck, and he shot him at 10 yards right here.
Oh, she must be. She's in the toilet. She must be on the phone.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Well, we started this trip on Tuesday, and Tim was done in an hour. And we have hunted harder for 5 days than any of us have ever hunted in our lives. And it looks like it's going to pay off because just a little bit ago, Mr. Big came in chasing 3 does and stopped at 20 yards. And I think we double lunged him. I think we saw him go down at the top of the ridge. So we're going to start walking. There's blood all over where he was standing. You know, what we got. It's given him probably 45 minutes now. So here we go. And this is what we're getting all the way from where he was standing. And he was right up and collapsed right on top of the ridge. Here's his tracks going too. Okay. Oh my goodness. Night. Oh my soul.
Keep walking.
I got it. Oh my word, it's huge. Oh my word. Oh.
79.
With a broke off 10.
Oh my word. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Oh, look at that buck. Oh, man.
Wow. Wow. He's a 10, sweetie? He's a 10?
He is a 10, but he's a 9 now. He broke one off.
Okay.
Well, that's a wrap, y'all. Thanks for watching episode 2 of Generations Outdoors. Our Indiana trip was definitely one for the record books. Whether or not we ever make the world record books with our deer, the memories and the time that we shared on that trip to Indiana was something like I've never had in my life. And I was sure thankful to be able to go with you on that trip, and
it's an exciting moment as a dad when your son makes you proud. But it made me real happy when my son looked at me and said, "Dad, you made me proud today." And I think that's how we all felt. It was just one of those great times that we shared together, and we will remember for the rest of our lives. And we're so thankful. We were so blessed to be able to have such an experience.
Well, thanks for tuning in, y'all. Now's a great time to like this video and subscribe to our channel, because we're gonna have much more action just like this coming to you guys as often as we can produce it. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see y'all next time.
See ya.